So that brings me to the galley, which Shannon alluded to. That was one of the first meals we grabbed on the ship. We weren't terribly hungry, but we absolutely wanted to explore. I thought the food and all of the different options was certainly one of the top highlights of our cruising experience. I'm already really into a great meal and a great adventure. And Resilient Lady really, and I think the Virgin brand overall, really puts a strong emphasis on creative, fresh, innovative food options. And right off the bat, we discovered that in the galley. When we walked up, we were instantly greeted with takeaway boxes of snacks and even charcuterie boards. There were sushi boxes and bento boxes and taco options and kind of basic British fare and hamburgers and the most gorgeous pastry case with a lovely assortment of pastries. And so, because we were excited, we weren't terribly hungry, but because we were so excited to be there, we each grabbed a pastry, grabbed some sushi, and went outside.
One of us got ramen, didn't we?
Yes, I think that was me.
Okay.
I think I wanted to try it, and it
Yeah.
was great.
There's like a taco stand, and
There's a fresh salad bar with the freshest salad and beautiful arrays of soups.
Yeah. And none of this is buffet. It is, you can either sit at a table and order through the app, or you can order through they have these little flag things on the table. If you put the flag up, then a server will come around. It was relatively crowded because people everybody was getting on board, and a lot of people were coming straight to the galley, so it was pretty crowded. You could also just walk up to the counter and put your order in, and they would give you a little puck.
And that's what we chose to do.
Yeah.
We went to each individual, because we wanted to try different things also, we went to each individual sort of mini restaurant within the galley and put in our orders. I went to the noodle place, you went to the sushi place. I think in the sushi place you could just grab pre-made boxes of sushi.
Maybe you could order stuff. I didn't try, but and we wanted to find a seat outside at the very back of the galley. Like, a lot of people don't even get back there and realize that there's actually a really nice outdoor seating area back there. It's under the shade. It was kind of windy and chilly, but we wanted to. It was a gorgeous day though, and we wanted to look out over Portsmouth while we were having our
lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the next thing that was up was the sail away party. That was coming up.
Did we have drinks before that?
Yes, we went to the Sip Lounge, which is the champagne bar, and found some spots.
That was also our muster point.
Yes.
So when you board any Virgin voyage, you're required to muster and get your safety instructions. Our muster point happened to be in the Sip Lounge, which is this lovely champagne bar. And so we figured, after mustering, we should treat ourselves to a drink.
And to be clear, they don't muster on Virgin. I don't think a lot of cruise lines muster the way they used to, where you all had to go out on deck and put on the life jackets and stand there for 45 minutes. There's a video you have to watch, and like literally you can't do anything else on the app or in your room on the TV until you watch it. You can watch it on the TV or on your phone on the app.
And we watched it while we were unpacking, and it was great. It was interactive. It was entertaining.
And then you just have to go report to your muster station. There'll be a crew person there. You check in with them. They check you off the list. They make sure you don't have to bring your life jacket. I think they had a sample one.
They had a sample one.
They show you how to do it, and they're like, this is the point, and you've been here, and they check you off, and then you're done. So it's very, very quick. But then after we were done with that, we happened to be by this bar, so we thought we'd have our first cocktails.
Felt like the right thing to do. Now, I had read so many things leading up to this cruise, but one of the things I had read about were sort of ship-specific classic cocktails written by other cruisers. And the one that intrigued me, and I texted Shannon about it in the weeks leading up to the cruise, was the pineapple upside down cake. Because according to what I had read online, and you should always trust everything you read online, this was the signature drink of the Resilient Lady. So we got there, and I was ready. I was ready to order my first pineapple upside down cake, had no idea what it was, only to discover that nobody had heard of it. Not even none of the bartenders, none of the staff. This was all a myth.
Well, I mean, I don't know that none, because Don Jr., our server,
Yes.
he went up to the bar, and the bartender in the sip lounge knew nothing about it. But then, and we said, okay, we'll do something different. Like, we were accommodating.
We were absolutely accommodating.
But he took it upon himself to go on a quest, if you will, to find a bartender somewhere else who knew what we were talking about, and apparently found the recipe and brought it back to the bartender there, and they made the drink.
They did. They, with the help of Dr. Google and a very creative bartender and their overall desire to please all of their guests to the best of their ability, they brought me a drink that we imagine was a version of the pineapple upside down cake.
Yeah. I don't remember what I had. I had something different.
I think you had a glass of champagne.
Did I? I feel like I ordered a cocktail off their cocktail menu, but I don't remember.
I don't know.
Each bar has a different cocktail menu with cocktails that they specialize, but they also can do pretty much anything classic. And if there's something you're at one bar and you want a drink that's typically at another bar, if they're not so busy, they can accommodate that. So.
And if you watched our previous episode, you'll realize that Don Jr. became our friend and later on our supplier of additional cocktails at a show that we attended.
Yeah, illicit.
An illicit show where we ordered.
Well, none of it was really illicit. Just honestly, I questioned Don Jr.'s judgment a little bit. Love you, Don Jr., but
Don
you
Jr.,
should not have been
you're the
serving
man.
us. You should not have been serving
We were
us Sunday night.
so far beyond the point of being served.
This was Thursday afternoon. We were still fine.
We were fine.
So, yeah.
So Don Jr., shout out to you. Thank you for going above and beyond.
Yes. And so then we headed out to the sail away party. I was very hyped about the sail away party. I love drag queens. And I had been following the diva that was assigned to Resilient Lady. She had taken her spot only in July, so she'd only been there a couple of months. And I was so excited to meet her and to see her in action. And I knew that she and the hostess play an important role in the sail away party, and so I knew exactly where I wanted us to be standing.
And I'm going to even back up further. When Shannon says that she loves drag queens, she really loves drag queens. And when she says that she had sort of been following Gila Moonstar, she was a full-on social media stalker in the weeks leading up to our departure date. Not in a weird or creepy way, in absolutely fan mode.
Yes, and I had received messages back from her, like she was not putting out restraining orders or anything.
No.
But yeah, so I was like, I knew exactly where I wanted us to stand. Right in front of the DJ booth, up on deck 16, overlooking the main pool.
And in an odd twist of fate, we had already met the DJ Iconic. Hi, Joel Iconic, who we now follow. We follow one another on our Roam to Renew Instagram page. But DJ Iconic, we had met him in the elevator, I think going up to the lobby, taking pictures with him, and then saw him at the sail away party. And so we waved at each other. Yeah. He knew all the music that I liked and wanted to hear, and every time he played a Depeche Mode song, shout out DJ Iconic, he sort of gave me a little look.
Yes, and I will say, just generally speaking, this is the cruise line for Gen X. It just is.
Fully.
They get us. They really get us. So, yeah, we parked, and then they give free champagne during the sail away party. Yes. And they're not stingy with it, but they do have to impose some sort of order on the situation. So I could see they were starting to pour the champagne off to the side, and I wanted to grab our glasses and then be back in position so we could be there exactly when the hostess and the diva come out. And so I was lurking, and they were very strict, and they said that we couldn't have it until, I think, 4:45.
Yeah, they had a very strict 90-minute free-flowing champagne period, but not 1 minute before and not 1 minute after.
But, it takes a while to pour a glass of champagne. Sure. So they have all the glasses, and it takes a long time. It was a lot of work. Hats off. So I parked myself right next, and I left Nina in our spot, and I parked myself next to the champagne, and I made lots of friends standing there. And I think I was helpful to the bartender because I stopped some people from snatching the champagne early. I'm kind of a rule follower. It depends.
Depends on the rule.
I definitely depends on the rule. So when they finally let me grab champagne, they said no more than 2 per person. I snapped. and I
ran over,
slammed this. So I think we split the first one, and then we each had one.
We did.
Because I didn't want to lose our spot.
No. And meanwhile, I was standing at our spot, and I would like to point out that Shannon and I may seem like we have gigantic personalities, and in fact we do, but our collective average height is 5'1.5". I'm 5'1", she's 5'2". So I was in charge of keeping our spot sort of in a sea of really tall Europeans. I did it. I mean, I managed. I had elbows out, and I kept our spot, but it felt like a very long time.
Admirable. And so, when I saw the diva come out, I ran over because before she started her thing, she was standing by the DJ booth. And so I got to say hello and get a picture with her. And then Nina did the same. And then the sail away party started. And it was just fantastic. We stayed up on the top level while the diva introduced everyone. The hostess actually didn't make it to the sail away party. Apparently she was under the weather that day, so we didn't actually see her that day. So the diva took over and was introducing all the happenings cast that were arranged on deck 16 and down at 15. And it was a great way to start things off. Then we went down.
Such a fun kickoff. We went downstairs after the diva did her intro, did a song, did a dance. We sailed off.
I don't think she did dance.
She's always moving and grooving.
So we went down to deck 15, which is in the pool deck.
And then we had our own dance party.
Yes, everybody was dancing. There was a conga line.
So fun.
Andre the Hype did 10 standing backflips.
He did.
Maddie came and danced with...
yes. There's some fun footage of me breaking it down with Maddie.
It was
Rebecca Promise, someone we met.
We met her
at Gunbae.
Later,
we met her later,
night.
but she did the worm.
Yeah.
And we got footage of it.
Yeah. So it was just a super fun time. The sail away party is a blast, and I was really glad that the weather, accommodated that. And then we had our early. What time were our reservations? Like 5:30.
We had 5:45.
No, 6:15. Or was it 5:45?
It was 5:45.
The sail away party didn't start till 5:15. I think it was 6:15. I'm pretty sure it was 6:15.
We had very early dinner reservations that very first night.
Yeah, but they were later than the other. It was later than the other nights because I didn't want.
Oh, that's right, because we didn't want to conflict with the shows.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whenever we had dinner, it was early for us.
And we talked about that a little bit in the last episode.
We
Gunbae. You get teamed up with strangers because of the way the tables are. If you've ever been to Korean barbecue, they've got the grill in the middle of the table. One thing is a little different. If you go to a standard Korean barbecue place, you're cooking your own meat. Here, they don't let you cook the food. They have an actual server standing there who does all the actual cooking, but it is all cooked right in front of you.
And that leads me to the third thing on my list of top 5 moments. At Gunbae, when we were paired with this delightful group, we met our first solo traveling friend, Rebecca. And she ended up being a friend of ours and continues to be a Facebook friend or an Instagram friend of Rem to Renew. And it got me really excited about solo travel. I think Virgin really handles this entire concept of solo travel so beautifully, creating so many moments for connection and community, but also allowing a traveler to really set their own tone, set their own pace for activities, set their own direction, and still have a really full experience. I have not historically traveled solo, but would absolutely consider doing so on a future Virgin voyage.
And so, Gunbae was great. Anything in particular about the food? You did order one thing. It's actually in that picture. That's our profile picture. What was that thing on a stick that we all decided maybe shouldn't exist?
I wanted to order the hot dog. When everyone was having dessert, I wanted the K-dog.
Oh, that's
what I did not realize was on Gunbae, the Korean fried hot dog experience is actually a seafood dog. And there were multiple little seafood dogs, which I ended up sharing with the entire table. And I think collectively we decided that was just a skip.
That was maybe a miss.
That was not really great.
But yeah, I remember I'm pretty easygoing as far as food is concerned, and that was the only thing. I think everything else I very much
Everything else
enjoyed.
was delightful and enjoyable, and more importantly, the people we met at Gunbae this first night, this interactive night, ended up being our cruise buddies for the duration of the trip. It was such a lovely experience, and I would highly recommend doing an interactive dining experience that first night. Even if you're not that into the cuisine, even if you're not a drinker, it's such a fun way to meet a crew that may end up being your crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the entertainment. So we first went back to the room because I didn't want to lose any time later to put on our pajamas, because the first night on every Virgin Voyage, I believe, on all the ships, they do a PJ party. And they typically do it on the top deck, aft at the ship, in the athletic club, weather permitting. We were coming out of Portsmouth. It was very windy. It was a bit cold. So they did it inside in the Manor, which is the nightclub. That's also a performance space sometimes. So we went ahead and had our pajamas on. And then we went to the Red Room for the first show of the trip, which was Persephone. And I knew I had been studying up. I knew that the entertainment was going to be high quality. I knew it was going to be not your standard cruise ship entertainment. This was not going to be Broadway style. This was not going to be, classic. I was unprepared for how incredible this show was.
Mind-blowing.
First of all, it's a standing show. There are no seats.
And there's no traditional stage per se either.
Yeah, all of the entertainment spaces are very modular. For this one, there was a bunch of aerial stuff, and then there was this climbing thing at the back. But there was basically a stage with a big runway and a circle at the end of it. And we got in there early. I really wanted to be up front.
And we were. We were right on. If you could call it a stage, we were right up on it.
Right up on it. So that was incredible. We had great spots, and we hadn't even planned on it, but we ended up running into our Gunbae friends.
The full Gunbae group.
Actually, I don't think we had Rebecca there that night for the show.
No, but we had the others.
Yeah, we had the two couples with us. And it was a short show, 45 minutes. So don't be too turned off about the standing. You'll be moving with the music anyway. It was fantastic. There was kind of this pre-show vibe with some aerialists doing stuff right over our heads, which was fun. And then the show starts, and it's a creative retelling of the myth of Persephone and Hades. And it was beautiful. It was just stunning.
And these performers, truly top of their game.
So high energy.
So incredible.
Yeah, very high energy, very just it was just a very current vibe.
Yes.
Costuming was very sexy. There's a lot of bondage themed stuff across all the entertainment. Like, I don't think there was a single show or entertainment thing we attended that did not include people in body harnesses and have rope involved. But it was gorgeous.
It was stunning.
I was very impressed. Very, very impressed. So I was super charged up after that.
Listen, this is an adults-only cruise.
And that makes, it makes a difference in every area of the ship, because you're just not dealing with the screaming children contingent, or even the well-behaved children contingent, where you have to be mindful of what you're saying because you don't know what's going to be, who can hear you. It just removes that completely. So all of the entertainment, they can make the double entendres, they can make the innuendos and not have to cloak them in anything.
Absolutely.
I've heard that when Virgin first started, some of the very first shows were extremely sexual, and there was some pushback. So now I think it's like, you could avoid it that's not your thing, but there's really nothing that's like, there was no nudity.
There's no nudity, but there absolutely were sexy costumes and sexy performances and beautiful permanners. The eye candy was remarkable.
And the other thing I just want to touch base on here is that I love Virgin's casting. Both for the Happenings cast, who are the replacement. They don't have a standard cruise director. They have the Happenings cast. They have a hostess and a diva, who tend to be MCs at a lot of things. But then they have the rest of the Happenings cast, and I should have written them down, but they have different roles. There's a huge acceptance of all people, all sizes, all races, all shapes. And that's just incredibly refreshing to see. And even in the dance cast and the acrobatic cast, your circus performing cast, like the folks doing aerial and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously those folks are very fit and very strong. But even amongst the dance cast, there was body diversity. There were some thicker folks up there, and I loved that.
I was there for all of it.
And we're going to get into our backgrounds at some point, but I'm actually a burlesque performer here in Atlanta, and body diversity on stage is something that is very near and dear to my heart, and it's something that I think is a very important part of the burlesque community and the way the burlesque has developed, and it's a big part of my personal burlesque community. So that just made me really happy, because in a lot of cruise environments, you're typically going to see what we consider sort of very corporate performers, performers that almost look identical, you know, and this just wasn't that, and I loved that so much. So yes,
and I noticed that a lot of the cast were very empowered to personalize their looks, personalize their outfits. Even their common outfits were bedazzled and unique, and everyone felt empowered to express themselves. It was lovely, absolutely lovely.
There's nothing cookie cutter about the crew.
No.
Entertainment, happenings cast, or the standard crew. I feel like they're all empowered to kind of be themselves, and I love that. So then we went to the PJ party, which was in the manor since it wasn't outside.
Yes. And I'd like to interrupt here. I was very, very nervous.
Oh, okay.
About the PJ party. Shannon and I have very different backgrounds, which you will discover in future episodes when we interview one another. But I was very intimidated by attending this PJ party. Not every image I had seen online, but many images I had seen online showed people wearing really sexy, skimpy, lacy, satiny, lingerie-style PJs in matching sets, in couple sets. And that is just really not my vibe. I admire it. I love it for you, but I don't necessarily love it for me. So I was really nervous about attending this PJ party. So Shannon and I did something that really helped me. First, we decided we were going to match, which I thought was kind of fun.
We matched a lot.
We matched a lot this trip. And second, we decided that we were just going to go for comfortable.
Yeah.
No feathers, no lace, just comfortable. We went with a theme. I mean, our entire theme were octopuses?
Actually,
Octies?
technically, I think both are correct, but I usually say octopi.
Okay, octies. Lots of octies all over us. Maybe that didn't work. Maybe that didn't work.
That sounds like drugs, but no, not drugs.
No drugs. No drugs.
Oh, oxys. That's what it sounds like now. No
oxys either. No. Octies. Okay, I'm going to let that one go. I don't think that's working.
So, yeah, we had matching octopus t-shirts and matching octopus pajama pants.
And what I'd like to say is everyone is welcome and embraced and celebrated as you are.
Right.
There were absolutely all the feathers and pasties, but there were also absolutely all the octopi. Yeah. And we all had a fabulous time.
Yeah.
Okay, please, carry on.
There's a wide range of what's acceptable, and there were people that weren't dressed up, and nobody made any faces or told them to turn around and leave. But it was a fun dance party.
Night.
It was slammed. That manor was hopping. That was the most crowded we saw it the whole
bodies
trip.
On bodies.
It was a little intense from a crowd perspective. Like, it took some maneuvering. If you're like, okay, I want to go to the other side of the room, let's figure this out and
snake our way through.
Especially remembering our collective height. There's a lot of ducking.
A lot of ducking under elbows.
And, but we managed to run into some of our friends there.
We did.
I managed to run into the group of friends I had made by the champagne table that you weren't with me for that.
But I became friends with also, and we saw them throughout the ship.
Yeah.
Throughout the experience.
So, we just had a great night. We had several cocktails. We were definitely tipsy by the time we headed back to the room.
Absolutely.